Yes. What do we want to do? Oh, we want to.
Welcome to the Margot Show. My name is John Vroli. I'm standing in today for Margot Grant, who's busy traveling. In the studio, we have two wonderful guests. Both of them represent French lingerie companies. So please let me introduce them to you. We have Christine Eckert, who works for Obad. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Obad, yeah.
Obad. Lingerie company from France, from
Yes.
Paris, France, correct?
Correct.
And we have Andrea Gaines, who works for Lou, simply, right? Lou Lingerie.
Correct.
And these are two of the oldest lingerie companies in France. Am I correct in saying that? I think two of the more prominent, two of the oldest.
I don't know if they're the oldest,
Right.
but they've definitely been around for a long
So
time, yeah.
Two of the leading companies on the French market, right? Correct?
Yeah, from 60 to 70 years between these two companies, yeah.
And I understand your companies have been here recently in New York City for an event. There was an event in the West Village on Bleecker Street. It was called, what, the French Lingerie Loft? Is that correct?
Yes, the lingerie loft.
Okay, so can you, now I understand this is almost a historical event because it was the first time, as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, first time that 14 of the leading French manufacturers of lingerie brands, 14 leading brands, came together and had an event in New York City. It was a pop-up event, right, for about 4 days, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So could you just tell us a bit more about the event? How did it go? What was done? What was shown there? And please, if you could tell us.
Of course. It was a really beautiful event, 3 days, in a wonderful luxury loft. These 14 brands are all part of the Lingerie Française, which is a French federation supporting and promoting these really historic, wonderful French brands. So over the weekend, we had different workshops that you could attend or fit sessions where you could go and personally have a one-on-one session with a brand bra fitter and really get a wonderful experience in picking out your own lingerie. But you could also just walk into the showroom and see all of the different brands. They're laid out in different themes, and you could kind of take a look into this French Parisian world without having to go to France. It was right here in New York.
Okay, so it was a recreation of a French loft, right? Literally
Yeah.
a recreation here in New York City, so people had the chance to come. It was a non-commercial event, right? It was free, open to the public.
Correct,
Right?
totally
There was
free.
no charge. So, and your company specifically, what did you offer during this French lingerie loft? You had a special workshop, I understand?
Yeah, Obad did a workshop that I led myself. We went through all of the different bra shapes that Obad has to offer, but are also in the entire world of lingerie. It can often be a really nerve-wracking experience to walk into a lingerie store and see all of these beautiful things and just not know where to start. So I took everyone through the different shapes. What's a half cup? What's a full cup? What's a triangle? And what they mean, how the bras are constructed, and what they're really doing for you, so that the next time you walk into a store, you know what you're looking for and you're familiar with all these things now.
So what is a half cup and a full cup and a triangle?
A half cup is actually what Obad is really famous for. Gives you a really natural round bust, and it's a more straight across type of bra. So do I actually have this here? This is their 14. It's a half cup. It's kind of straight across. Full is mostly what it sounds like. It's a pretty full cup. A triangle itself is going to be shaped differently. And so those are just a few of the shapes that they have to offer. But if you don't know kind of the shape they can give you or the style that you prefer, can be a little nerve-wracking.
And the event, that the French Lingerie Loft, so there was more than just lingerie. There were some workshops, correct? We'll call them, I mean, there was the workshops for the lingerie
Yeah.
companies, of course, but then there were some lifestyle workshops. What were these, for example, what were some of these lifestyle workshops?
The lifestyle workshops are really meant to give you a Parisian experience. So there was everything from chocolate tasting and the history of chocolate to perfume making or a Zumba class or a Reiki section. There were really a lot of different ways you could get a wellness activity or a little moment for yourself to really kind of collect and have a nice little Parisian vacation.
Some people, and myself included, might not understand what is Reiki. What is that?
Reiki?
Reiki? Can you
Yes,
explain?
it's a movement. Somebody performs Reiki on you, but they never actually touch you. They convey their energy into you simply by placing their hands in different
Can you show me?
parts of your body. I'm not a specialist. I actually have a friend who is. But it can really change. People have different realizations or feel like they've been holding something back. They now realize what it is. It can be a really moving experience.
Okay. And there was French chocolate, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
It must be French chocolate. We think of Swiss chocolate, Belgian chocolate, but French chocolate, yeah, it's something.
There's a lot of good things
something
France
quite
has to
special.
offer, yeah.
So you recreated this French, this corner of France in New York City. Why do you think the Parisian flavor, the Parisian flair, is it really something that Americans or New Yorkers really enjoy? Is it something they take to? What do you think? Is it?
I think there is. I think as Americans, we have a fascination with the French. They have a way of looking beautiful and confident and amazing, but not being perfect. That it's sort of the rolled out of bed and looked like this. It's you can be beautiful and wonderful without having to try that hard. And that's what Obad and many of these brands want to convey, that all of this goes into your personality and how you present yourself. And that's where your sexuality comes from. That's where your femininity comes from. It's driven really from you.
Okay, can you tell us some more now about your company? So when was it founded? By who? Is it a private family, or is it still family owned? Is it a major corporation right now? Perhaps is it part of a conglomerate? Will you just tell us something about the company?
Yeah, Obad was founded in 1958, so they're actually celebrating their 60th anniversary this year, which is a wonderful event. They started in corsetry, which is really the foundation of a lot of lingerie, especially in the French brands start in corsetry. And they have evolved from there, but they still design from their design house in Paris. They still use all their French laces. It's a very French brand from the beginning and still is today.
So the designers, they're in Paris. So the company has a headquarters in Paris or outside of Paris?
Yeah, they're headquartered in Paris.
Okay. And the designers, where are they drawing their inspiration from? Where do they come up with their designs?
A lot of it comes from France itself, of course. Paris is a very sensual city. It's the city of light, so a lot of their inspiration comes from there. But they also look to other places as well, like where might you be going for your next summer vacation, and what would you want to take with you, whether it's your lingerie or your swimwear. You want to reflect with the places around you, so they look to other places as well.
And the company, so it was founded, it was a family business originally?
Originally, I'm not sure.
Okay, but before, I'm curious. I studied history, so might have a few more history questions here if you know. But what was the history? First of all, could you tell us what is corsetry? That word not so clear to myself.
Yeah.
And can you give us some insights into what was French lingerie like before 1950, before the company was founded? And so obviously it's the post-war era, but what were things like before World War II in the 19th century? Do you know a little bit about the history of lingerie?
Yeah, so French lingerie got its start in corsetry, which comes from corsets. It's that really heavy with stays that really sucks you in. It's made to support the really heavy, elaborate Renaissance dresses and meant to separate the easily washable undergarments from the outer fabrics that were harder and more precious that you couldn't wash. So you have everything starting at the corsets, and as dresses got slimmer, a bit lighter, the lingerie evolved with it, and you're getting lighter pieces, shorter pieces, pieces without those long boning and stays. And then when we get to World War I, all of the metal in the corsetry had to be allocated to the war. So the lingerie industry really had to adapt and evolve to that. You still need undergarments, and a lot of the women are now going out to do jobs they never did before, and they really need the mobility that corsets really just don't offer you. And so things really changed around then.
I'm sorry, metal in the corsets. Explain to me. I didn't get that.
It's
part.
used, so you would have metal stays or bones to support you and keep you in. And all of that now had to come out for the war effort.
So the exigencies of life, of reality in French society sometimes influenced the fashion.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, but today, obviously, there's no war in France,
Right.
so your designers are free, like you said, to draw inspiration from whatever might strike their fancy.
Yeah,
So-
and fashion always evolves over the years. Things that were, in trend in the 60s or the 70s are kind of coming back around. So fashion is very cyclical, and things are often recycled. It depends on what's going on in the world of today. But there are shapes and styles that we've seen before that are in trend. So nothing's really off limits anymore.
Okay. Well, what is happening today, specifically with your company? So can you show us some pieces and talk about them?
Yeah, of
And
course.
do you have some
So at the Loft, we actually had the 60th anniversary collection. So this is everything that is specifically Aubade and represents Aubade, which is really intricate embroideries, beautiful details, gold details, exactly what you would think your 60th anniversary would be. So this is a really exciting, important collection for them. They really put a lot into this, as well as every collection. It's 90% new each season. So you're really getting a totally new collection and fabrics than you did in the last season. So it's always different for them.
Totally new, in the sense of what? Again, design?
In a sense
Fabrics?
of design. So a lot of brands, you have your certain styles. They can recolor them or put them in a print in the next season. Aubade really likes to overhaul 90% of its collection so that they're staying on trend, they're giving the customers what they want. They're really listening to the customers and really giving them something to be excited about when they go to a store.
But you say listening to the customers. Now, I imagine your customers are global, right?
Yes.
So that's a lot of listening.
Of
right?
oh,
So-
yes. And
So how do you-
markets are very different. The things that are happening in the States are not necessarily the fashion trend in England
Right.
or in France or in Japan. So it is a combination of what they're seeing across the world. But if there's an exciting trend in one place, they can introduce it to everywhere else.
Okay, but do you ever do collections that are specific to a certain country? So one for England, one for China, one for Russia?
Not
No?
that I've seen. That's a pretty big undertaking
it would
to
be.
do it for just one country.
Okay, so when you, again, listen to all these voices, get the feedback from the customers, you try to come up, or your designers try to come up with a
Yeah.
design that would both, I guess you have to find a balance. It has to be authentically
Right. It still has to
Parisian
remain
French.
Aubade. They're a very seductive, elegant, almost provocative. They call it cheeky chic. So you
What's that?
have a little humor, a little provocative, a little wink when you walk, but it's still very classic. It's very elegant. It's very traditional.
Is there something here that
And
could,
all
for
of
example,
that really goes into what they make. So this one is really elegant. It's really feminine, has beautiful floral detail and embroidery, but it's pretty sheer. And that's just a little twist that they put in there. And you can play with all the different shapes and the fabrics to really fit what's your idea of femininity, what's your personality. They give you a lot to really enhance yourself and what you feel.
Now, as someone who has never really gone out and purchased lingerie, I don't know, and I would like to know how many options would I have if I walk into a store? How many different pieces are there in a collection? for example?
In an
5, 10,
Aubade collection.
Yeah, 5, 10, 15.
It depends on what season we're in, but it also depends on what the store wants to buy. So you may walk into one store, see 5 different styles, and you could walk into another store and see another 5 different styles. So it depends on where you are.
Because each store has the right to choose.
Exactly,
what they want.
exactly. Aubade creates an offering and stores can choose based on what their specific customer wants. But there is an Aubade collection called the Boîte de Désir, and it's specifically designed as a one size. So you can go in, get that one size. It comes in a cute little gift box. Everything is adjustable with ties on the sides or little straps. So it really adapts and fits to whoever is wearing it. But if you don't have a lot, if you don't know a size, if you're not sure, it's an easy go-to. They've really simplified the process for you.
Okay, so let me see if I understand you correct, right? So one size, one piece, one size, but you can adjust it somehow? There's certain, you pull something or?
Yeah, if it's a panty, there might be like a little tie on the side or both sides so that you can like tie it really closely, kind of loosen it up, depending on your preference.
Is that something that your company has pioneered, that one size, adjustable size, or no? Did you pioneer that or no? Has that been around for a while?
I mean, the one size fits all has been around in, you know, not just lingerie, but clothing companies as well. But the Boîte de Désir is a really provocative line for Aubade, and to have something that's already gift packaged for you in that one size takes all of the guesswork out for the customer, and that is a really unique situation in lingerie where you have so many different sizes and styles to choose from.
Repeat it again in French. What was the name?
Boîte de Désir.
So what does that mean? Can you tell us?
It's based on desire. It's
the box of
desire.
desire, right?
The box of desire.
The box of desire.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not only it's desire for whoever your partner may be and playing with that, but it's really a desire for yourself and bringing out your own sensuality. So it plays to many different aspects.
Tell us about the autumn-winter collection, right? It's obviously it's out there, right? It's
It's
on
in
sale.
stores now. It's their 60th anniversary collection, so it was a big line for them. They did a lot of really strong, popular styles that really represent Aubade. And because it's an anniversary collection, it's probably one of the most luxurious collections I've ever seen, with really beautiful.
So you showed us one piece, right? This piece here?
This beautiful gold. Thank you. And really putting the details in there. It's really luxurious. That.
So just have
Yeah,
a few
of
minutes,
course.
if you don't mind me touching.
Go for it.
It's very fine, right?
Yes,
it's very,
very
soft,
fine.
very fine.
A lot of their laces are French, and they really use flattering cuts as well as the materials to give you the best shape, the best look, the best fit, the best feel.
And the feel, can you tell us, what is the feel like? It feels very, obviously very comfortable, but...
Of course, yeah. Lingerie works at its best when you don't feel it at all. It's really there to support you, to be your foundation, but it's also the first thing you put on in the morning. You wouldn't drink coffee. That's really terrible. You'd want the best coffee. People are really obsessive about their coffee. If this is the first thing that's going on your body in the morning, you really want it to feel good. You really want it to fit. You really want it to support you. And you really want it to be a foundation for what you're going to put over top of it as well.
With the autumn-winter collection, how many pieces are in there?
There are a lot of different collections with at least 6 or 7 pieces within those collections
Pieces
as well.
meaning both
so like
top
this,
and bottom?
Yeah, both top and bottom. This is one piece for them.
Okay. Well, and I understand we have some video,
Yeah.
right? So we could go to the video and take a look at the fall-winter collection, autumn-winter collection, correct?
Yeah, great.
Okay, let's do that. Andrea, could you tell us something about your company, please? When was it founded? Was it start as a family-owned business? Was the husband and wife designing lingerie?
Actually, it began as a love story. It was founded in 1946. A woman, Lucienne Fowler, met her husband-to-be on the Orient Express, and my understanding at the time, she was a gymnast who loved lingerie, and together they founded Lou Lingerie, short for her name, Lucienne, and so it began
As a love story.
as a love story.
Fantastic. What a great start for a company. And today it's one of the most popular French brands, right?
Yes.
Sold globally. And in the U.S., how popular is it in the U.S.?
You know, in the U.S., it is in a rebuilding phase at this point because there were some internal changes, but it is on the upswing, which is really exciting. And what Lou, offers their customer in the French lingerie realm is beautiful laces.
Please show us
Sure. Beautiful laces, and then with some whimsy. They do a little bow detail on a range from their autumn-winter collection, which is, as Christine had said with Obad as well, it's like a little wink, like only that your lingerie, has some fun to it. And what makes Lou really special, besides the wonderful French laces that they use, is that they also have a nod to functionality. Like in the American market, a lot of women like items that are very wearable and perhaps not as elaborate. So besides doing these wonderful laces, they do a stretch lace in a fabulous color and something that is easily worn by the American market and by the American woman.
Well, are there any differences between the tastes of American women and French women? Do they prefer more or less the same thing, or do they have a different approach towards lingerie?
Not to say that this is a science, but based on my years of being in the lingerie industry, my understanding is, the French and French women dress from the inside out. It is really important to them to pick out their lingerie, and that sets the tone for their ready-to-wear and what they put on top. Whereas American women tend to, dress from the outside in, and what is important is what they're wearing on the outside, and it doesn't matter what their underwear looks like. And so that's a really very important distinction.
Yeah, I think if you ask a lot of men about this question about lingerie, they probably think, oh wow, she's wearing it to impress me, to excite me, to entice me. Is that really the case? How do women look at lingerie? I mean, you mentioned it briefly now, but can you please continue? How important and why is lingerie important for a woman?
Well, lingerie for a woman sets the tone. If you feel comfortable if you feel comfortable, supported, and have the right lingerie, the right fitting bra, the right underwear, you feel empowered, when you get set for the day. And that is, I think, what, one important aspect of the lingerie loft was really trying to bring out to American women with French brands that it's not just to seduce a partner. Lingerie is really there for yourself, and it's to make you feel good, and it's really very empowering when you're wearing the correct garments, the correct undergarments.
I guess, man or woman, we all want to feel comfortable in our own skin.
Correct.
And lingerie, and of course how we dress is a big part of that, right?
Right.
I would think. Now, as far as in general, if you look at the French brands, what is their position on the American market? I mean, from what I understand, from a little bit that I've read, from what I understand, American manufacturers dominate, maybe Italian, Asian. Is France? Are the French French brands? Are they in a fourth place? Maybe my information is wrong. Correct me, please. How big of a market share do you have in the U.S.?
The French lingerie industry is actually really a big import into the States, so it is a really large part of the lingerie industry.
Okay. And the sales, from what I read, sales are maybe as much as $26 million a year, right? So that's that's a lot
growing.
That's a lot of lingerie. It's a lot
Yes.
of tops and bottoms, and I think that, again, the purpose of the French lingerie loft, the whole purpose was, again, like you said, to meet American women customers, maybe existing customers, maybe potential customers, really to meet them and to have a chance to explain more about why French lingerie is perhaps better than the competition. Is right? I'm sure you feel it's much better.
Well, you know, I also think it was meant to dispel this myth of unattainability in terms of the French market, saying that you can wear French lingerie. It's not, you know, it's not.
That's something super high price and
Correct.
luxurious.
Right.
It's
Correct.
something for
It's
everyday
attainable.
women.
Right.
It's attainable for every day for everyday women. I mean, well, I don't want to say average. I don't like that word, but for women.
For every woman of all sizes and shapes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Really, this is wonderful. Thank you very much for coming. Again, Andrea Gaines from Lou Lingerie Company and Christine Eckert from Obad.
Obad.
Obad. I got it correctly. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed our show, and come watch Margot's show again whenever you have the chance. Thank you. Good night.